Yes, Raina sir, shall we start? Raina sir?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Namaskar,
sir.
namaskar, namaskar, sir.
Namaskar. Okay.
Yes, sir. Please, yes. Okay.
Uh, Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the day second of our capacity building program on human rights. So, for today, we have our speaker, Shri C Raina sir, a senior designated advocate who has a 5 decades of standing in the legal profession. Shri Raina sir is presently serving as the Advocate General of the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. Shri Raina sir is serving as an Advocate General for the 4th term. Shri Raina sir has a distinction of being the first Advocate General of the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. Shri Raina sir in his professional career has represented almost all the prestigious institutions in the erstwhile state of Jammu and Kashmir. And for today's program, Shri Raina sir will be deliberating on the topic governmental and non-governmental protection regime of human rights in India. It's over to you, sir.
Should I start, sir?
Yes, sir.
At the outset, my sincere thanks to Pro Bono India, Kashmir Law College, the organizers of this beautiful event, and very good evening to all the viewers who are online. I take it as my privilege and pleasure both to be part of this event. Thanks for your valuable comments. But since we are in the profession and it's a learning profession, so therefore we have to cherish further in the search of justice, administration of justice. So therefore, I am very humble student of law. Today's topic is a role of government and non-government institution in protecting the human rights. In my understanding, if we compartmentalize this into 3 parts to understand the topic properly, first of all, the state government, then the non-government institutions, and the non-government organizations, NGOs. So then perhaps we will be able to throw better light on the subject. To begin with, in my understanding, there is a doctrine called doctrine of inclusiveness. When you include everybody in the part of the society, then we call it a state. Its mechanism works through the government. Government is governed by laws. Therefore, the social fabric of a civilized society is manifested the kind of laws it has and how the laws operate to protect and safeguard the interest of each and every individual, collectively, individually. I understand the very existence of the state is because of the necessity the society requires to have a protection in every and all aspects of life, and that's what the government guarantees to its citizens. Justice in all forms. Now, when we talk about the rights, it's a very manifested, elaborate term. It may not be so easy to put in few words. For the reason, when we precisely refer to the rights, we start with the natural rights, the rights which derive from the nature. Right to air, right to light, right to live, right to water, and therefore we call it natural rights. These natural rights, when again translated further, we say the rights which emanate from the birth, which we call as fundamental rights. We have vested rights, we have accrued rights, we have statutory rights, we have collective rights, we have distributive rights. So rights, the term right is so closely integrated with the human being, without which a dignified life is not possible. Therefore, in a short spell of time, we'll like to deal with the subject in a way that we are able to understand. And in that context, since we are a part of a civilized society, it's governed by rule of law. And rule of law is traceable to Constitution of India. The very reference to its preamble will talk about social justice, political justice, equality, and all kinds of justice. Now the question arises, on one hand, the government assures through the constitutional machinery, various laws, various rules, various acts, how the rights will be protected. At the same time, to safeguard, to ensure that these rights are properly protected, safeguarded, we have judiciary, and the judiciary is again an integral part of the society. So therefore, when we talk about rights, we have to have looked to the Constitution of India. When we look to that, we find chapter 3, article 14, 15, 16, up to article 35, 34, we deal with that. Then we again jump to chapter 4. It again assures the rights in all fields like health, education, science, technology, right to information, and lot of other rights. Now, the society has many kinds of rights, which again are part of our constitution. If we look to article 341, 342, we find that for the scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, we have a separate provision like commissions. We have forest dweller rights. We have domestic violence rights. We have a lot of other rights. But how do we assure that these rights are properly protected, safeguarded? The object of the same is that each and every part of society, maybe weaker section, maybe backward section, maybe deprived section, maybe distressed class of persons, all are put on the same pedestal on the touchstone of article 14, 16, 19, 21. And when we do that, we immediately come to know that the government has a state policy which is part of chapter 4. And this protects all kinds of rights, rather makes it incumbent upon the government to assure that the society progresses on the basis of equality in all fields, in all dimensions. Now, when we talk about the role of judiciary, then we immediately see that if any individual under Article 32 of the Constitution of India can straightaway seek enforcement of right before Supreme Court. Similarly, anybody who feels that his legal, statutory, fundamental, vested right is taken away, the jurisdiction of the High Court under Article 2 to 6 is there, and the extent of jurisdiction is so large that even a letter written by any distressed person can be taken as public interest litigation, or otherwise also so far as protection of these rights is concerned, its dimension, its manifestation is in different forms. For example, way back in 1978, we had a celebrated judgment in Menaka Gandhi versus Union of India. There, the Supreme Court, she observed that right to live with human dignity is a part of the fundamental right, and it emanates from the very basis of the Constitution. When we talk about the collective rights, we immediately think about the People Union for Civil Liberties and State of Maharashtra. Then we say Francis Mullin versus Administrator Union of India. Then we look to that, we find that all these rights are not only recognized, but these are ensured to be protected. A very interesting thing is that there is a concept of locus standi. That means in SP Gupta's case, for the first time, the Supreme Court elaborated this and said that a third party to protect the safeguard the right of another person can approach the court, and therefore the scope was enhanced. Similarly, when we have seen that in brick kilns, in big industries and big institutions where the labor was exploited and they were deprived of their basic fundamental rights. So then we had a celebrated judgment, Bandhua Mukti Morcha, Union of India. And similarly, we have Narmada Bachao Andolan. What were those judgments? Those judgments ensured that the equality is there, protection is there, dignity is there, and everybody has the same right. Similarly, we find that weaker sections in the society, we have like scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, and other backward classes. Then the Constitution under Article 341, 342 places a complete mechanism to ensure that even the deprived class, depressed class, distressed class is not deprived of these rights. Another segment in the society, what we find is women, children. In that sense of the matter, we come to know that there are many laws which protect and safeguard the rights of women, rights of children. For example, no child below the age of 14 can be employed. Similarly, we have a judgment, Vishaljeet, Union of India. In that judgment, see, the Supreme Court said eradication of prostitution and to evolve scheme to proper care and protection of victim girls. Now what we find is a biggest challenge which the society is facing is crime against women, crime against girls, crime against childs. So therefore, the Supreme Court anyway says that there must be strict law, stringent laws, there should be guidelines, and there should be proper mechanism placed. Then we have another judgment, Gaurav Jain versus Union of India. It talked about the rehabilitation. See, one can safeguard and protect the rights, but the question is how to protect in a real sense. So in that judgment, you see, the Supreme Court said rehabilitation of minors, and especially those who are easy virtue, how to protect them, and especially those who are driven to the prostitution. So therefore, this is another development which is very important. Now what we find is that there is a discrimination in villages, in other areas, rural areas. We know a lot of schemes are there. The women are not properly paid. There's a discrimination. Despite we have Article 39, equal pay for equal work. And the Constitution says that there cannot be a discrimination on the basis of sex, race, or religion. Yet, in our country, this again is a challenge, how to come out of it. And for that, again, many judgments, many laws are there. Article 14 is a cornerstone, which is a guiding factor. And Article 39 is an enabling factor. So therefore, to see this, the mechanism is placed. then later on, another issue arose that to work with a dignity, the Supreme Court in Associate Banks Officer Association versus State Bank of India, then the Supreme Court said that the women has to work in a very safe, dignified, and a good environment. There cannot be discrimination on account of sex. Similarly, as we all are aware, we have a judgment in Madhya Pradesh versus Pramod Bhartiya. That judgment, you see, again deals with Article 39. It talks about equal wages for women. But so far as the exploitation of women is concerned, in office places concerned, in public places is concerned, the government and the Supreme Court have been showing concern. We have this Madhukar Narayan Mandirkar judgment, and they also say that women need a privacy also, they need to be protected also. Then so far as Vishaka judgment is concerned, Meda Kotwal judgment is concerned, we are all aware. These judgments provide safety, protection, dignity to the women, a part of our segment society. Similarly, when we think about the dignity, because of the violation of the basic rights, the Supreme Court time and again is coming that handcuffing is bad. That you see, Prema Shankar Delhi judgment and D.K. Basu judgments are guiding factor. Then we have many other provisions under different acts to ensure that the women, maybe the Domestic Violence Act, maybe the POCSO Act, maybe other acts. So therefore, these acts are meant for protection of the rights. So far as these rights are concerned, these rights are rights of equality. We know earlier in the defense forces, the ladies didn't have that equal participation. That celebrated judgment we know. In the Air Force we know. In the airlines we know that Supreme Court has elaborated the definition, have given the manifested definition of the protection of these rights. Similarly, when it comes to collective protection of these rights, then there comes the role of the NGOs. Now, this country is proud to have 3.3 million NGOs in the country, and these are playing a very vital role. But before I come to that, I just want to place before all of you that no doubt this Human Rights Act 1993 came for protection. But in my understanding, right from the time of civilization, we have different eras, different periods. Protection of right was there. And of course, violation used to be there. But check and balances has been part of the ancient history of this country also. So therefore, what I feel is that our living mechanism is organic in character. It keeps on evolving. It keeps on growing. It keeps on developing. And the development gives the manifested form, different form, elaborated form of the rights. Till 2005, we were not aware about the right to know. Then we had the Right to Information Act. Then it got amendment from time to time. Today, on account of transparency, everybody has right to know what his government is doing, what the institutions are doing, what right is being violated, and what is being misused. So therefore, with the gradual growth of time, the law keeps developing. Similarly, this protection of rights has manifestations and many elaborated forms. We have Human Rights Act. Section 3 of this act provides how these rights are to be provided. Commission has to be there. What are the duties of the Human Rights Commission and how it can suggest ways and means. And these legislations are guided by these laws. And then comes the role of NGOs. In this country, we find that NGOs were not after this independence. What I find is in 1875, we had many NGOs. One of the NGO was Friend in Need. The other was Arya Samaj in 1875. And then we have a National Council for Women in 1875. These are the examples which go to the contemporary parts of the human rights history in India. And as we know it, that these organizations, especially in a spell of 21 months between 1975 till 1977, it was the NGOs which played a vital role. That period of emergency we know, the black period we call, and how the rights are being violated. Everybody knows that. Who played the vital role? NGOs played the vital role. Similarly, NGOs have, you see, different branches. We have NGO like Saheli. It talks for women's rights, youth of voluntary action, eradication of child labor. Then we have other People's Unity for Civil Liberties, democratic rights, Vienna Conference we have. So all these rights, when we take, then we find that this is a very important integral facet of the Indian democracy. This is the glory of this system, that in this system, side by side of the legal provisions, we have the NGOs. These NGOs are playing a very vital role. Now, what I say, kindly see, the research see, it has many roles. Now, these roles of the NGOs, what I find is that these roles include education in many fields, helping the depressed classes of the persons, and awareness. Many human rights NGOs undertake information dissemination, public education at a mass level. Then they conduct training and sensitization program, skill building programs, awareness rising undertaken through many workers, training programs, seminars, conferences, production of resource material such as pamphlets, brochures, posters, and their widespread dissemination, and contributes to the process of this rising of their role. Then there is another role attached to these NGOs. This is called research, documentation, and publication. Many human rights NGOs undertake the quantitative and qualitative research. Such research, see, forms the backbone of the campaigns, advocacy initiatives, research of undertaken, and include fact-finding initiative and analysis of judgments and laws related to human rights, as well as research on existing practices. Documentation forms an important part of the human rights NGOs work in India. South Asian Human Rights Documentation Center, Asian Center for Human Rights, these are based in Delhi. These engage exclusively in search of documentation on human rights. Many human rights NGOs produce several publications, including that of simplifying laws. Now, I pause for a while. When I came to know about the enactment of these three laws, the CRPC, IPC, and Evidence Act, so I also, in my own way, tried to simplify it, and I have compiled these laws by graphic methods so that a common man understand, so that the NGOs take it to other places. So that is the very beauty of this democratic system, that it also works through the NGOs. Now, it also campaigns against the inadequacies, the fallacies. It also talks about the campaign against the injustice, human rights violation, human lack of resources. It also mobilizes the opinion of the public at large. And now what we find is the later part of the history, then it has started motivating the government also and creating awareness also. The latest example, and rather classic example, what I find is that it is because of the NGOs that the death penalty issue was raised by them. Then we have this NAS Foundation about the 377. Then the most important part is to provide social, legal, financial psychological, medical, and other forms of assistance to the victims. So when we see the disaster in the country, when we see the natural calamities in the countries, these NGOs come forward for the human right and relief. And this is a writ large that at the time when others fail to reach, the NGOs are first to be there. Similarly, they contribute to human standards also. They not only help and protect, they also try to uplift the standards of the living being in many fields. And therefore, in my understanding, that we need to feel proud that the NGO's role in this country is also inspired by the many landmark judgments. How can we forget the D.K. Vasu judgment? How can we forget that Vishaka judgment? How can we forget UNO Convention on Examination and Discrimination Against Women? How can we forget Indian Council for Enviro Legal Action? Similarly, we have Sakshi versus Union of India. This all talks about the women. And similarly, what I find is that apart from these NGOs, now comes the question of the CSR, corporate social responsibility. We have multi-national companies, we have banks, we have other institutions. They are also involved. They are also autonomous and semi-government or absolutely autonomous institutions. They are also playing a very vital part in our country. Now, as I find that in the entire country, every state have number of NGOs, and states like Maharashtra, like Delhi, Madhya Pradesh, there are large number of NGOs, and these NGOs are second to none insofar as protection, elevation, uplifting of the standard of the people, protection of their rights is concerned. Now, overall view when we take together is that on one hand, the government is through its legislative process, through its executive process, through its outfield activities, trying to protect and safeguard the all rights, which I have said that maybe natural rights, maybe legal rights, maybe fundamental rights, maybe accrued right, maybe statutory rights. But these are rights, the right to property also, right to live also, and to live with a dignity also, right to worship also. So we have seen many landmark judgments in the recent past where men and women have taken at par so far as the religious institutions are concerned, their entry into religious institutions is concerned, and similarly their participation in every segment of life is concerned. What I find is that under the Forest Act, till one point of time, only male member could be there. Now what we find is that the law is changed though, in police, in army, in air force, in the airlines. Talk wherever you want to talk. So the role of equal role of all segments of society is concerned. See, the person belonging to even the backward classes, the deprived classes are holding the top position because of what? Because of the equality of law, because of the sustainability of the procedure which the government has put in place. In my understanding, a society can develop only when every segment of the society is allowed to move forward, when every segment of the society is given an opportunity to be at par with each other, when every part of the society feels safe, secure, happy, comfortable, and leads a dignified life. When all these components are found there, only then and then we can say that we are in a democratic state. But at the end, you see, I again would like to say that the society lives on the organic kind of the system. System grows. After 5 years, 2 years, 3 years, again when you hold a seminar on the same topic, maybe these rights are again manifested in a micro and macro level, so that the things which you are not perceiving right now may come up again, and the rights again gets elaborated, manifested. So this is, the country has to move forward, the society has to move forward, every individual have to move forward. At the same time, I'll say that all such rights are subject to reasonable restrictions, so that the society also grows and the system also grows. So there has to be a striking balance on both sides. Only then the system can proceed further. This is my little understanding of the subject, because what I've said is my day-to-day experience. If one has to write a paper on this, then academicians, professors, and those PhD people must be best. But what we find on the ground, what we see day to day, what we see in the court of law, what we see in the society, I have tried to translate and reflect in the manner I have understood. I know that if somebody has to make a research on one particular area, it may require 1 month, it may require 6 months, or it may require 1 year. But just to have the broader idea about the role of government, a role of NGOs, role of non-government institutions, the right of the society, right of the depressed persons. Now, because the manifestation is so great, somebody is living in a forest, so forest dwelling rights are there. Somebody is Adivasi, so he has a right to protect his own culture and all these things. So therefore, these rights are to be seen in that perspective. So in my understanding, in the first look, I find that this is what the need of the hour is. Rest, the other can I'll join, and I'll be happy to join with others if they want to share more views on this. Thank you very much. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yes. Now you can put it to open for worthy participants. You see, I like to have their views also, and then like to respond to it, because as I told that today I'll be only here up till 5:45.
Okay, sir. The participants are requested to raise their hands for the questions, or they can drop it in the chat box.
Sir, any couple of cases that you handled related to human rights came before, you pleaded from government side, some NGO filed the case, PIL or maybe other representation. Yes, sir, over to you.
Every day, what we find is that people come forward. Recently, we had disaster in one of the district of the state, and a group of persons came for medical relief, for shelter, for alternate place, and to have other facility like financial aid, like blankets. So this continues. Similarly, when there is no school in a particular area, or a school is being shifted from one place to other, it is inconvenient to people at large. There is no hospital in a particular area. A particular disease has spread. The quality of water is not there. Like recently, rather not recently, since 2004, we have a pill in Srinagar. This very famous pill called this Dal Lake matter. Now, in Dal Lake matter, there are a lot of issues which are involved. The quality of water, the purity of water, the plants you see growing, dividing the water. Similarly, every day, now we have orphan homes, juvenile justice. So every day we come forward, but there our role is not adversary role. The role of the government is always, we never oppose, as long as it goes in the larger public interest of the people at large. But so far as your question is concerned, every day there are cases like see people the students feel that the bag which they carry is too heavy. Then they come to the court, say, could be new mechanism. The quality of food which is being served in the schools at the the gram level. Then again, so my role is such that I have to be everywhere in every kind of litigation.
True, sir. Because your role is such, you have to be there for this kind of issues.
No, my pleasure, my pleasure. See,
Yes,
I had a tight schedule, but out of my own curiosity, I just wanted to be part of amongst all of you. And rather, we are all in a learning process. 50 years in practice doesn't make much difference. Learning is a part which continues till your life. So
sure.
therefore, I'm as good as you people are.
Sure. So
But
we'll
I
take,
love if somebody.
definitely, sir.
Yes,
We'll say a couple of questions, then we shall close because of your have to. Uh,
yes, sir. We
Yeah.
have a question in chat from
May
Dr.
I
Son.
ask a
Yes, please.
No, I love to have few questions. No issue.
very good evening, sir. Sir, so my question to you is that since you are so closely
I'll be very
related with
happy. I'm happy if you start with your name so that at least I know are your
Yes.
reference. Sir, just for my understanding. Otherwise, I'm supposed to answer.
Sir, I am Priya, Dr. Priya Joval. So my question to yeah. So my question to you is that since you are so closely related to the governmental sector, so we heard about your insights on the whatever initiatives the government or non-governmental initiatives we have heard about that. But do you think that there are still certain gaps or still certain lacunas from the
Absolutely.
government's
No,
perspective?
absolutely. No, absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
could you please throw some light on the same, sir,
Yes.
please?
The communication gap.
Hmm.
See, because position is such a way, I have my own limitations. But once we have a gram panchayat, when we have panchayat, when we have people at the block level, when we have our own MLAs, when we have our DDC chairman, when we have our own minister, then ultimately the chain becomes more strong.
Hmm.
So therefore, the question of gap which you are referring, I am absolutely with you. Yes, because that chain has to be very strong. Maybe at times it may not be as good as it ought to be, because we are open-heartedly discussing the issue. And I said that improvement is a space which is always available and should always be available for the we keep on improving.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
I hope you get your answer.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Sir, we have a question in the chat box
But
from
I wish,
Mr. From Mr. Injamul Haq. He asked,
can you be on the
Human
screen?
Rights Commission.
You are
Sorry,
not on the
sir?
screen, ma'am. You are not on the screen. You are not
Yeah,
visible
sir.
on the screen.
Sir, I'm the part of the team. I'm
Okay.
asking question on the behalf of someone else who
Oh,
has
sure.
put the question in the chat box.
Yeah.
Myself, Sakshi. The question is from Mr. Injamul Haq. He asks, as the Human Rights Commission in India is called the toothless tiger, what can government give some powers to the Human Rights Commission or some recommendations about that?
We cannot say that is toothless, but one has to understand, when we frame a commission, we have Human Rights Commission, we have a commission for women, we have a commission for minorities, we have a commission for backwardness, we have a commission for scheduled tribes, scheduled caste. But again, we have to see the role of this commission is recommendatory. So the government acts upon the recommendation of the commission. The commission itself cannot, in a sense, yes, it can cater to the area which are enshrined under the act, and they can, but where they feel that something more to be done, then maybe inquiry commission, maybe any other commission, ultimately they are recommendatory in nature. For example, there are less number of seats in parliament so far some categories concerned. They'll make recommendations. They'll not add seat to it. So therefore, it has to be coextensive with the legislative, the state, and the executive, so that all function together.
Okay, sir. So it's just one more question in the
Sure.
chat box. We will take that last with the time constraint. It's from Dr. Sonu. He asked, why is the government not interested in setting up a human rights court in every district? That is mandate under Human Rights Act 1993.
See, so far as its manifestation of commission is concerned, we have Human Rights Commission. We have in J&K also, elsewhere also. Then we have many commissions. Like you have a right to have a good quality of product. You don't get it. So you go to Consumer Commission. Say some child is not being treated well. There is a Juvenile Justice Commission, or there is a Women Commission. So therefore, yes, maybe with the gradual growth of time, the area enhances. There is no end to anything. With the passage of time, and rather what he says that on behalf you are asking, yes, these will be taken note. Certainly, these will be taken note.
Okay, sir. So shall we move towards the end, or?
Actually, you can take a one question if you want, sir. If you take 1 minute, I think it's important. I would say, if NHRC does not have criminal jurisdiction, then in what way or in what manner it provides justice to the victim?
Could you repeat your question, sir?
Sir, if NHRC does not have criminal jurisdiction, then in what way or in what manner it provides justice or take cognizance to the victim?
I think that I wish you hold another session on new laws. There's a tremendous change now, so far as IPC, which we call this now NS and NSS, BNS, Bharatiya Nyaya Adhiniyam and Bharatiya Nyaya Sanghita. Now, that's what I was trying to say. I have compiled a small booklet. You just point out one finger on a point. The new law will say, yes. Earlier, you see, for example, one is unable, a lady is a destitute lady. She's unable to go to police station. He has met injustice. The new law says, give a call, the SHO will come to your house. Within 3 days, you will have copy of the FIR. You will be informed about that. So all these things which you find now, they all cannot be put in one bucket like commission. The government, so far CRPC and IPC is concerned, it has to have a mechanism so that instead of having lot of commissions, we have a good, effective, sustainable system so that the people may not have to be confused more. Rather, they are sure that by adopting that process, I wish the new laws, especially which they are very elaborate laws. And I have noticed compiled one chapter. This is timeline chapter. It starts from 3 hours, 8 hours, 24 hours. What is to be done? So where it is lacking, if the government feels it can incorporate there, or parallel law always is there. Nothing remains in vacuum. Parallel laws are always there. If anything is missing there, the same is under IPC or CRPC.
Thank you, sir. So as we conclude today's session, I would like to offer a sincere vote of thanks. First and foremost, I will like to express our deepest gratitude to C Raina sir and for sharing his invaluable insights on the topic of human rights with us. We have been greatly enriched from your nearly 5 years of experience in legal field, sir. We are truly honored to have
5 decades.
5 decades of experience in the legal field.
But I still say year don't matter. What matters is that your proximity with the subject. What matters is you must be ready to learn from anybody. So this is my way of thinking. And perhaps
yes, sir.
Perhaps this is one reason that the system has tied me in it. Otherwise, 5 decades is a too long a period in a profession. But I am grateful. You people have showered love. But I wish if somebody else could put, I have still 5-7 minutes. If somebody else, I'll be very happy. Say, not only human rights question, like legal profession, social life, anything. Because I have seen every facet of life. So I will invite each one of you. Anybody has any question, so I'll be very happy to respond to that.
So we have questions in the chat box. We are just concluding because we thought the time is running out.
Okay, good. So my thanks to all of you once again, and I'm grateful that I am with you for some time. And thanks a lot. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, participants, for the joining.